amazingly, even though it's a Grand Prix track, it's actually quite slow.
Right.
You think with it being a Grand Prix track, you think, right, it's got to be fast, but actually, in general, it was mainly second and third gear corners. This one here is another quite tricky one because you arrive and basically you have to...
Yeah, see, all the corners actually are a lot sharper than...
Yeah, this one's very difficult for front-wheel drive because basically you have to build the speed up. And this is a long one in Formula 1 where they complain to their neck.
Right.
Because it's such a long corner and actually tightens.
Yeah.
But it's very important because it actually leads onto the straight. And so
you had full throttle there though, didn't you? For most of that last bit.
In the race car it's tricky because you're going in second and you're trying to build the speed up through the corner. And of course the level of understeer is second, third, fourth, into fifth on the exit. But it's very important because you've got the long straight. And basically, if you slow out of there, you've got every chance of being overtaken.
Yeah.
Coming into the hairpin, and it does represent the best place to overtake.
We got to 2:30 there. What's it like driving the Alfa Romeo?
That's good. I love Alphas. I've drove for them for years. So, and for me, there's always a piece in my heart for Alpha.
Yeah. Oh, want to go again?
I was going to say, let's get it going.
As they're over and done.
Yeah.
Look at this.
But it's great. It's a quite fun track to drive.
Yeah.
Very, very technical. The car moves around a lot, but you've got, like I say, you've got the highest speed corners. I think you've got the super slow one, so it's quite difficult to set the car up.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, you need a very sort of slippery car with good top speed. It doesn't exactly play into our strengths. Last week in Beijing was obviously much lower top speed, so for us it was I was representing our best chance, for the result. It was an amazing result.
Don't say that now, James. We've everything to play for.
We've got everything to play for. We're really optimistic, and it's going to be brilliant.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are watching us. Thank you for joining us as we get ready for the 10th race weekend in the 10th season of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. We're at Shanghai in China, the second consecutive Chinese race weekend, ready for rounds 19 and 20 of the series. When we are done here, just 2 race weekends remain to decide the 2014 champions. Well, it's very likely that our manufacturer's crown will be tied up here today. Citroën Racing needs just 2 points. And with their cars looking very strong in qualifying, James Nash, if they don't get 2 points here, it will be the single biggest motorsporting story of the entire decade. I can't imagine how that couldn't happen.
No, they're all up for it, and the only way it won't happen is if they take each other off.
Yeah, in both races, which would be remarkable. We can see our front row men there, Hugo Vallant and poleman Mehdi Benani, 9th and 10th in race 1. They'll be 1st and 2nd on the reverse race 2 grid. Everybody else from 11th on down, Tom Coronel, that's where they will start for both races here on the Grand Prix circuit at Shanghai in China. Thumbs up from race winner Tom Chilton on the grid, getting ready for the start here. And Chilton, possible that he might find himself on the podium here, but the speed differentials on this track compared to Beijing last week, very different indeed. And Andrea Adamo looking a little concerned as he looks at the Honda of Gabriele Tarquini. Since the European season finished, and particularly actually since they went to Argentina, both Honda and Chevrolet have had a chance to test a few developments. And James Nash, that does seem to have just brought the field a little closer together. The teams that didn't have testing before the season are starting to try and catch the Citroens.
Yeah, they're all having to work very hard to catch up, and unfortunately there's not enough time in the season to make the grounds I'm sure they all wanted to, but we have seen improvements. And with the Chevrolet winning last weekend and the Hondas being very quick down the straights now, I think they're getting closer, and let's hope they can give something in the race.
They certainly didn't have any luck last weekend, and neither Tarquini nor Montero looked very cheerful after qualifying, did they? They didn't get the speed that they wanted out of the car. Montero starts 6th. He's the better of the two Castrol Honda boys. Tarquini is 7th, and they are behind Sebastian Loeb. 4 Citroens and 1 Honda went through into the top 5 qualifying, and the 1 Honda was independent driver Norbert Mikulich, the Zengo Motorsport car, so he ended up in 4th place on the grid, got a quicker lap time than Sebastian Loeb. And again, when you're the guys that design and build the cars, it's good in a way if customers can prove that they're at least as quick or quicker than you, but you don't want it happening all the time.
Certainly not, and Zengo are doing a fantastic job to be beating those boys, and we know how good Norby is, so there's no surprise that he's as quick or quicker than Tarquini and Montero. They are just doing a better job at the moment.
They certainly are. It's a small family-run team, essentially. Zengo Motorsport, Zoltan Zengo, you can see him there in the doorway of Norby's car. It's him and half a dozen other guys based in Hungary, exclusively Hungarian, and yeah, just doing a really solid job. Ivan Muller then, championship is starting to run out of days. The championship is on 24 race weekends, 25 points for a win. I mean, the mathematical possibilities are still complex and many, but as he says, every day the championship is getting shorter, and he's still falling behind with every day.
Yeah, he is, and after qualifying, the report saying that he just couldn't find any more time. That was all he had, and it was quite a long way off Mar and Lopez.
Yeah. Grid being cleared in particularly vocal Chinese style. Qinghua Ma last weekend in his home city in Beijing, track that he must have driven past countless times going in and out of the international airport there, just had a shocking time. Much better performance here. Maybe Tom Coronel would be the best man to go to on that. The only race that we've ever had for the World Touring Cars in his home in Holland at Zandvoort was possibly his worst ever racing weekend, certainly his worst in World Touring Cars. Well, Ma starts 2nd, but it is our points leader, Jose Maria Lopez, who starts on pole. Jose Maria Lopez leads our championship from Ivar Muller, and again crept away another vital couple of points in qualifying. Teams now behind the pit wall, watching from the garages as the cars are on the final formation lap here in Shanghai.
Quite warm here because the temperature is very high, so I don't need to warm a lot the tires, but be sure that the race will be very long, and everybody must pay attention to don't destroy the front tires, because as you sure know, all cars are front wheel traction, and it's sure that it's not easy to make these 60 kilometers on this circuit, especially for this corner. I show you this very long corner approaching the fast straight, maybe the fastest straight in the world. And you can see in front of me you have a lot of meters before the first hairpin, and you must exit very fast if you want to save position or to do some overtake in front of you. Now we are approaching the start, and I warm a little bit the tire, like all car does. Turn left and right, slow speed to warm the tire. This is the hairpin in the end of the straight. And now we are approaching the last straight before the finish line. I hope to see you soon. Bye, arrivederci.
Ciao Gabriele, fortuna. Good luck to everybody on the grid as they head down. And James Nash, you were just saying, how long are the tyres going to last here? Because there's a lot of long tyre-killing corners here, aren't there? Especially that big one that leads onto the straight.
Yeah, turn 13 that is, and it's increasing throttle all the time through that corner, as is turn 9 and 10, so it's very hard on the front tyres. Trying to get power down and keep the car turning is almost impossible for a front-wheel drive car.
Oh, and James Thompson comes down pit road, left front puncture or a steering arm maybe. Has he clipped something on the way? No, it's the steering arm. You can see the tyre just wobbling around there, and that's a disaster for Thompson. The Lada on pit road as the cars come to the grid. Ready to go on the shady side of the track here in Shanghai. Jose Maria Lopez, the poleman. On the sunny side of the street, Qinghua Ma, the local hero. And the Chinese crowd will go mental if he can somehow manage to undo that pole sitter's advantage and get into the first corner. First corner is a right-hander. Lots of diesel smoke there. Somebody's got a very rich starting map. Away we go, and a great start from Ma. And Lopez is going to have to work hard to cut him off. Muller trying to get in front of Mikulic. There's contact there. Mikulic down the inside. Muller stays there. Norby bumps over the curbs. Around the outside goes Montero. Tarquini for the second weekend in a row does not make a great start. And Ma didn't get away off the grid properly. Dropped back 5 or 6 cars, but he has made a great start to go into second place. He's got to start putting the pressure on Lopez and everybody else safely through the real danger point, corners 1 and 2, and then it goes on through 3 and 4. This is wheel to wheel all the way, James.
Yeah, contact all the way down the grid, and we've got to be careful early laps not to push too hard, because we've just heard that the tyres will disappear. Norby's normally very good at this, so we'll see him hanging back a bit and save his tyres.
14 laps. And the thing that tyres like least on a race car is constantly turning in the same direction. The twisty, turny stuff, you think that might really hurt them. It does, but not as much as just hanging on to one long, big corner. As they cut through corners 8, 9 and 10. There's Tom Coronel, started in 11th place. Looks like he's picked up a couple away from the grid, and he was really in determined form. Mehdi Banani, by just 200ths, denied him a race to grid pole spot, but he's got in front of Banani. So has Dusan Borkovic, in fact. And they're streaming down the long back straight here. Montero with Loeb inside, or outside as it is, as they get to the right-hander.
Lopez not adjusting his brake balance there. We saw him yesterday in qualifying adjusting it going into that corner. Maybe he over-adjusted it this time, locking up the rear.
So Thiago Montero holding on in front of Sebastian Loeb. That's the battle for 6th place. It's Lopez from Ma by 6 tenths. Muller already 8 tenths behind. Where is Ivan Muller's speed? Suddenly he's looking like the guy who's not got any pace at all. Then Mikulic, Tarquini and Montero and Loeb. Chilton 98 there. That is Dusan Borkovic. He's in 11th place. And although this looks like a flat Grand Prix track, it is actually, there are quite a lot of elevation changes. There's lots of corners where you're turning over a brow or dipping into a little depression, and that all sort of adds up to more tyre wear as well. Yeah,
as a driver through turn 2 into the tight 3, you cannot see the apex of those corners at all. It's all vision in front of you and guesswork, really. Once they've done a few laps, obviously, they know what they're aiming for.
So Citroën 1, 2, 3, and Loeb in 7th place. I was saying earlier on, before we came on air, if Citroën don't get a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the races, then they really are doing something wrong. But Loeb got really bundled out at the start, and he's struggling to make real inroads. Now, last year, you'll remember that we saw the Chevrolets basically just pull out and steam past everybody down the straight, and we sort of expected, particularly after Argentina, when they were able to do that so easily, that might be the case here. But again, Sebastian Loeb tried that on Montero last lap, and it didn't really work. So it shows that the Hondas have found a bit of extra pace in that testing and update spree that they've been through. And again, Montero has to defend, but Loeb can't just go round him. So Argentina is a distant memory now. Loeb gets a little love tap, but he stays there on the inside. There's another tap, and he gets it all sorted out into the final corner. But he was always in the driving seat there. Once he'd gone the long way round, it was still there. The road was going to come to him eventually in turn 16.
Yeah, he closed off Thiago there a bit too much, but we know Thiago doesn't mind giving people a few love taps here and there, so I think we might see another one in a minute.
All's fair in love and war. Looking forward from right behind, Thiago just going in deep behind Sebastian Loeb. This is one of the things that you find, of course, and we saw this when we had the diesel engines versus the petrols and so on, is you get different cars that got different characteristics. And you must have found this, you know, racing in the Chevrolet, that you were quicker in places that you couldn't exploit because the other car was just slow in the middle of the corner or in the turn-in or whatever. And so you've got to try and find a way of using your advantage against their deficit.
Yeah, for sure.
And a wheel's just fallen off Chilton's car. Right front wheel, just parted company. Wow.
It's very strange.
That is the first time. Is it a front or a rear? It's a rear.
Did he clip the barriers?
I just saw the wheel go straight by the car. And Tom sitting there probably has no idea why it stopped unless he actually saw the wheel going by, but it's below window level, so I very much doubt it. Quite bizarre. And that, you know, you've got to think, well, we're only on lap 3. You've got to think that it was never quite on.
Well, there's a tyre stack around turn 4 through the fast chicane.
But if he'd done enough to take the wheel off, you would think that the wheel arch wouldn't be intact, and
yeah,
it definitely was. So, no, that's just a wheel nut that wasn't quite on, or that was cross-threaded or something. Now, look, interesting here, the way that the cars are sort of shaping up in manufacturer formation. We've got the Chevys, then we've got we've got the Citroens, then going back a year, then we've got the Hondas, and then we've got the Chevrolets behind them. Norbert Mikelic, the black and red car, 4th place, best of the Hondas, but Tarquini and Loeb are both on the hunt. Ooh.
That was incredible.
Norby offline turning in there, but somehow managed to hang on to it. Loeb just drove around the outside of Tarquini. So what we see now is that Citroen's traction advantage, something again that you're familiar from driving the Chevrolets, that traction advantage, that still remains.
Yeah, it does still remain, and you know he hasn't used his tyres too hard early on because you can kill them straight away. Norby, I said earlier on, is normally very good at looking after his tyres, but compared to these Citroens, he's already struggling, and against Tarquini as well, he was really hassling him.
Now the good news for Norby is if he can hold off Loeb, then Loeb goes by on the straight. It might not allow Tarquini to close too much. As it is, Gabriel is not quite as far up under Loeb's bumper as he would like to be. Lopez leads from Mar and Muller. So again, another day, another race. So far, Lopez will creep away another few points from the barn. In fact, in this case, if nothing changes, it'll be another 10 points. And every single time he does that, it makes it harder and harder for Muller to recap or claw back some of that disadvantage. And again, Muller in no place to threaten to win this race. Mar, however, having won in Russia when he chased Ivan most of the way and then passed him, I think Mar might be in a position to win this race. And if he comes knocking, Lopez is probably going to let him go.
Yeah, he's not going to put up too much of a fight, is he? We know how good Lopez is, so he'll race cleanly and fairly, but I don't think he's going to ruin anything for this event.
No, absolutely right. Because points for second is 18 more than no points for sitting in a barrier somewhere going, well, he shouldn't have pushed me. And that's how you win championships at this stage. And again, look at the Honda. What an evil-looking thing that is, turning into corner 1.
Yeah, it looked like maybe a slight bit of contact there between the two.
Sort of at the moment reminding me how they looked when they first came onto the scene in Suzuka before last year, into end of 2012. The rear end was hopping about and it just looked frankly evil in Thiago's hands. And we were sitting watching it at Suzuka going, no, what a horrid looking thing it is to drive. And at the moment it seems like the way they've tried to work their issues out is to get the front even more nailed, and that means on a short wheelbase car like that you've got to have the back looser. Again, Sebastian Loeb stuck behind Norbert Michelis as he was behind Montero. Gabrielli in 6th position. Tarquini, of course, like Ivan Muller, former British Touring Car champion. British Touring Car finale this weekend at Brands Hatch. World Touring Car Championship still with 2 race weekends to go. We head into November at Suzuka in Japan. And then the final race weekend, mid-November in Macau, again back in China.
Van's just losing half a second every lap.
Loeb just a little dive to the inside as we turned out of shot there. The director didn't quite spot it, I think, but I think Loeb will find, as we get to corner 15, is all over Norbert Michelis. Well, he was, but he didn't get by. And that little lunge out of the hairpin, he didn't have enough. So the black car, Norbert Michelis, still in 4th place. And how soon is running in the turbulent air and using more tyre than aerodynamics going to have a disadvantageous effect on Sebastian Loeb's tyres? It can't be long. Sebastian Loeb, car number 9, again turns tight inside Norbert Michelis, but again the Honda driver keeps the car right in the middle of the road. James Nash, he's making it really difficult for Loeb to get by. He's
making him work very hard, putting him in all the difficult places, and Loeb's going to have to drive right round him to get past. But this is backing him up into Tarquini, which is exactly what Norby wants.
The leader's last lap, a 152.1. This group, Norby a 152.8, Loeb a 153.0. So they're getting on for a second slower. If they weren't having to be defensive and aggressive, they'd be a good half a second quicker. So Loeb's pace really should be no different from the top 3.
So this battle, Norby's grating is bringing Tom Coronel into the mix as well. He's slowly catching up.
It's going to be a long job, though. This is lap 6 of 14, halfway next time round. And Muller is just sagging away, isn't he? And this is, I mean, ooh, now here comes Loeb. Finally gets a good run, gets the slipstream, gets the move done. And this time, Norby saw the writing was on the wall, but has Loeb outbraked himself? He's still there alongside. Slippery surface flag, really, for what's down there in the final corner.
Maybe the tyre stack's moved.
Ah, somebody has moved the tyre stack. It wasn't a slippery surface, that's a wing mirror. So was that a TC1 car at the back of the field last lap, or is that one of the lead trio? It was a red mirror. I'm not saying anything, but look at Sebastian Loeb's car. That's got red mirrors. Like you say to his Norby's. Trying to remember now, have the Citroens all got red mirrors, or have they got different ones for each car?
I think Mars got yellow, I think.
We'll take a look at our lead trio. I'm sure if one of them was at the side of the road, we'd have spotted it by now. But somebody has clumped the tyre stack in the final corner. Tom Chilton is out. We saw James Thompson heading into pit road before the race started. He didn't start the race. Mikhail Kozlowski also on pit road with the Lada. Left front corner they're worried about. That's the same that collapsed on Tomo's car. That's not great, is it? And Loeb now up to 4th. So Sishang 1, 2, 3, 4. It's taken half the race to get there, considering they started 1, 2, 3, 5. And this was the move. And Loeb sent it early, and he sent it with conviction and pace, didn't he? Wasn't too far away from that tyre stack on the inside either, was he, James? That was a good move, though.
Yeah, we've seen him hit a tyre stack already. Yellow flag in sector 3.
Yeah, I think that must be for the debris there in the final corner. Still haven't seen the lead trio. There they go in the distance. Battle for 4th is all between the Hondas. Double waved yellows, so I'm assuming that somebody there is moving that tyre stack manually, because there's nobody off on the outside. There is somebody off on the outside, and that is Locke. No, it's not. That's De Souza then. No, it is Locke, sorry, in the Seat Leon.
His front left wheel was slightly out of shape, so maybe that's who clipped the tyre barrier.
Now, how come we didn't see him last lap? Well, he's lost a red mirror, so I'm assuming he must have brushed it last lap and then brushed it slightly more.
We know what the Seat suspension's like.
Yeah, definitely. So William Lock, the Hong Kong driver at Campos. Yes, the Achilles heel of the Seat Leon has always been the track control arm, the steering arm. Yeah, did a job properly that time. Pinched too much of an inch. Last lap he took the mirror off. You can see it in the road there. This lap he took the front corner off. And that's always been the weakness with the car. Any contact there. So there now the car's not back. Tom has walked back in because he's come back through the cutaway into the back of the garage. And chatting there with his engineer at Roal, and they're trying to figure out what it was that might have broken on the car that allowed the wheel to just skate off into the distance.
Well, he said there was nothing in there, so it's saying
the
the whole
whole hub has
suspension,
sheared
the uprights disappeared and everything.
Wow. Just as well it wasn't here. You don't want it happening when you're doing 160 miles an hour. Mikhail Kozlowski heads back out. Spent a lot of time in the pit lane in China, in Beijing. I think in both races he was out of action with problems. He needs to have a good look through that car. It's clearly got the bad luck magnet somewhere. It's cold in the shade, isn't it? You can see the marshals here fully hoodied up. And the sunshine still nice and warm, but in the shadows it's getting cooler. Remember, we're into October here, still Northern Hemisphere. Cold in Beijing, cold as well in Shanghai.
Tamar hasn't relieved the pressure from Lopez yet.
No.
He's still keeping him honest.
He doesn't give up.
No.
The problem, though, is that when they get into Sector 3, that starts on the long straight. So what you don't want to be doing necessarily is passing anybody into the final corner. There won't be yellow flags down to the hairpin. It is just for the final corner. But Ma with the fastest race lap, making sure that Lopez does not escape. And for Ma on the straights it's a little easier because he's sitting in the slipstream, and so that just gives him a little bit of extra pace. But in the corners, he is sitting in turbulent air. His aero doesn't work so well. The front splitter that gives so much of the downforce to the car is not working quite as it should. That means he's taking more out of his tyre. So in the end, the balance is going to favour the man in front.
Yeah, it does, yeah. He has got that slight gap, so midway through the corner he is in fresh air. So he won't get the same effect if he's right underneath his rear wing. So it will be very difficult for him now to close up that gap.
He's going to have to be very audacious at forcing something. If Muller in third, Sebastian Loeb in fourth. James is thinking exactly the same that I am. What were the last laps? Muller's last lap of 52.7, Loeb 52.0. So he is coming. He's got 6 laps, 5 laps in which to get there. And Zoltan Zengo watching Norbert Mikelic, Gabriele Tarquini. That's the battle for 5th. And Honda honours. So we got Citroen, Honda, Chevy, Honda, Chevy, Lada, Chevy. Rob Huff in 12th place, the best of the only running Lada now after the retirements of James Thompson pre-race and Mikhail Kozlowski's pit stop early. Kozlowski 4 laps down, so not really part of the race, but obviously trying to make sure that the car gets sorted. Hugo Vallant, the number 7 Chevy Cruze, and the Frenchman with Mehdi Benani from Morocco right behind. They share a language, different cars for the two francophones, and Mehdi Benani, of course, with Hugo Vallant, will start on the front row of race 2. So Benani will be first and Vallant second on the grid, and that means, James, that the one thing that's not going to happen in that battle is that they're going to make any stupid mistakes, because they both want perfect cars to start in the front row of race 2.
Yeah, no time for re-prep, so they need to keep the cars clean, and with such a big thing of getting pole, you're not going to ruin that opportunity.
No, absolutely right. So William Lock's car being recovered.
So Loeb at the minute is taking a good couple of tenths every sector out of Ivan. There's 3.5 second gap and 4 laps to go.
It's not going to happen, is it? He's not going to get close enough to actually do anything. The only thing that might change here is the Honda triumvirate. Michelic holding off Tarquini and Montero. In fact, Thiago is sitting behind Gabrielli, letting Gabrielli do all the hard work, which is entirely the sensible thing. Don't confuse the mix and run the risk of all 3 Hondas colliding. But also, from a selfish viewpoint, let your teammate attack and wear his tyres out and those of the guy he's attacking, and then you might find something falling into your lap in the last couple of laps. Chances are these guys are good enough, and honestly, I think Tarquini is not looking at making a pass here. He's trying to stay with Norby, but he hasn't had the opportunity to get alongside him anywhere. And it's the same problem that the Citroën drivers are having, is they're in close to identical cars, as close as it's likely to get, built by the same people to the same spec. And clearly Norby is nobody's fool here. A little wide there. Is that going to give Gabrielli a chance? Not enough to get close.
Yeah, there's a few different lines around this track, and you know, these drivers are all at top level, so there has to be a mistake, or one driver has to use his tyres harder for things like this to take effect now.
Sebastian Loeb in 4th place, still lapping quicker than the man he's chasing, Ivan Muller. He's only taking out half a second at a time. Just saw Tom Coronel, little lonely in 8th, Ugo Valente and Mehdi Benani 9th and 10th, in the yellow and the green and red cars. Benani right behind Valente. The worst thing that could happen now is that Hugo makes a mistake and gets a bit of a twitch on, and Mehdi gets caught up and they both end up wrecked. So if I was Benani, I know the temptation is to sit right behind and maybe try and get by him, but the temptation for me would be to sit 4 or 5 car lengths further back and not try and get by him and just wait for race 2. Realistically, in the greater scheme of things, the difference between being 10th and 9th in points and what it'll make at the end, nobody cares.
No, not at all.
Waved yellow still at the final turn as the recovery vehicle is trying to get the Seat out of the gravel, and has done, so they've dragged it away, so hopefully we should go green there fairly soon. Still watching the progress of Muller versus Loeb for 3rd place. Lopez tried to get by Sebastian Loeb in the final corner after running him down in race 2 in Beijing. The Frenchman just managed to hold him off by inches. Another lap and Lopez would have been by. And this time, though, the Argentine, I think, has broken the challenge of Qinghua Ma, and it might just be that they caught the Engstler BMW somewhere where Lopez could get by easily and Ma couldn't, and lost a bit of ground.
He did lose a second that lap over Lopez, and yeah, only takes one small mistake like that, or somebody to get in the way.
I think he caught de Souza's BMW in just the wrong place. If you catch him at the end of the straight and you get by him into the braking area, great, but that means the guy behind then is going to follow him into turn 1 and 2, and getting around again is just going to take a little bit of time. Marie-Pierre, the press girl at Citroën, part of the setup at Citroën Racing all the way through their World Rally campaigns as well. Ma, his chances of winning this race, I'm afraid, are gone, and that means that his only chance of a win in China, well, he's now had half his chances. 3 of 6 races will be completed in another lap. So we've got the second race here, where he will start in 9th place on the grid. That's going to be a tough one to win. And then we will have 2 races in Macau.
Is this a Citroën first for a 1, 2, 3, 4?
I would be surprised if it is. Having said that, okay, so first race in 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, not a podium clean sweep. We started the season with a clean sweep in race 1 in Marrakesh. So where else have we had? You watch the screen, I'll work out in Russia. No, we didn't have a 1, 2, 3, 4 in Russia, and we didn't have a 1, 2, 3, 4 in Beijing. No, we didn't, because neither race was won by a Citroën driver, so no. This will be a first 1, 2, 3, 4 for Citroën. Franz Sengstler leading the TC2 class. The older style of car without the big wheel arch extensions, without the extra aero. And what's happened with Dusan Borkovic and Rob Huff. Huff was 12th, is now 11th in front of the Serb. So what happened to Dusan? Am I thinking there's something right front cornery on that car? It's not looking the same. I think he's clonked something. I don't think that front bodywork looks like it's attached properly. And the body English in the car is not great either. He's getting out the way to allow Gianni Morbidelli to get through. He's tonked a tyre stack somewhere, hasn't he? Yeah, he has. Look at the front. Yeah. So Huffy gets a free pass. And as we head on to lap 14, final lap of the race for Jose Maria Lopez. And Loeb and Muller are getting close. On board with Huff. That's Dusan in front. Oh, he didn't clump a tyre stack, did he? He clumped a Lada. Waiting for the contact. And it's there. I reckon right on that left-hand apex there, turn 3. That's where it was. So last lap for Jose Maria Lopez. He's 2.5 seconds clear of Quinhua Ma. Ivan Muller was 0.9, and Huff with a left rear puncture.
That would be through the contact as well.
Or was that left front? Was that the left front wheel I could see under the car just vibrating away? I think it might have been. Somebody else is off at the side of the road, and I didn't see who that was.
That was Chilton's car being collected.
Ah, on the flatbed, right, okay.
So that's his weekend brought to an early finish.
Yeah, if they can put a corner on it, it'll start on the last row of the grid, won't it? Lopez and Ma, 1 and 2, and the battle for 3rd place. And into the pits comes Huff, left front corner. So, yeah. And that's... Well, we didn't see Borkovic, but that may well be from contact with Dusan. So Lopez down the back straight for the final time in race 1 here. And Loeb is closing on Muller. So a battle with 13 world championship titles there for 3rd place. Lopez into the hairpin, turn 14. Then this nominal turn 15, which is the bit that Ma was just in before we get to turn 16. Final corner race, checkered flag awaits. And it is victory number 8 of the season in round 19. The race for 3rd place is going to be just as close. This time, though, Loeb does not get Muller, same as Lopez did not get Loeb in the last race. And Citroën are the World Touring Car Manufacturers Champions, and that's why they've broken out the red berets. No strings of onions? Come on, if you're going to go with the cliché, go all the way with the cliché. Some stripy tops would have been appropriate, and maybe a bicycle as well. So, congratulations, félicitations to Citroën Racing, World Touring Car Champions for 2014. Well, little high fives on the Zengo pit wall, as they are Honda Racing champions for this particular race. But everybody at Citroën looking very pleased. They've done what they came to do.
Congratulations, you are the champions of 2014.
Yes, now it's done. Really great year. Our team did a great job. All the team who are here, all the team who are in the factory looking to us. They are very proud to be able to do it here in China, with now the first market for Citroën.
Very important market, and a 1, 2, 3, 4 with a Chinese driver on the podium.
Yes, we cannot be better, I will say. Ma did a great job since the beginning of the weekend. We are very happy that he joined us, and we are sure that we can do great things with him.
Enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you.
No time to enjoy that. The cars will be on their way into Parc Fermé soon, and then the teams will have to really focus very quickly, James, on getting them ready for race 2. And you know, we talk about repair time. Effectively, you get actually 15 minutes on which you can do anything on the car, but that's got to include tyres, fuel, and anything else that's needed. So for the teams, the end of the race is not the relieving of pressure, it's the ramping up of pressure for the beginning of race 2.
Yeah, the only benefit Citroën have is they're at the front, they've kept the cars clean, and they'll have less work to do. So they're very good at their jobs, and they all understand how to change things very quickly. They've got it down to a fine art.
It's been a very low damage race weekend so far. And there is Jose Maria Lopez, girlfriend, and a Citroen photo opportunity. Tom Coronel knows how to get in, doesn't he? Oh, just go right between the middle two. That'll be fantastic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, their first of the season. Sebastian Loeb and Ivan Muller battling for third spot. Qinghua Ma trying to take victory away from Jose Maria Lopez. Couldn't quite manage it. So the Argentine wins race number 8 of his debut World Touring Car Championship season. Campione, well, not quite yet for Jose Maria Lopez. That surely will come. But for Citroen Racing, Champion du Monde, World Champions 2014. Is the Berry an Argentine thing as well? I'm kind of thinking, yeah, Gauchos. Not sure how the Berry ended up in Argentina. It looks quite good on him, actually. He's got a bit of a style to it. Jose Maria Lopez, our race winner, and Citroen Racing, their debut season in World Touring Cars. They are the Constructors' Champions. And James Nash, perhaps not a surprise, given what they've achieved in other forms of motorsport, you know, multiple World Rally Champions, and also the fact that they spent an entire year designing, developing, and extensively, exhaustingly testing the car before they came to the party. They came hunting for bear, and they have got what they expected. Down there is Alex Legui, there is Yves Maton, man who is the mastermind of the operation. Big relief for him, big pleasure as well for Jose Maria Lopez.
Fantastic result here in Shanghai, a double celebration for Citroen, not only winning the Manufacturers' Trophy, but also for Chito Lopez. Congratulations, winner of race 1.
Thank you very much. This is for the team. It's the most important thing for this year. It was an objective, very important for Citroen, for the team. They have worked very, very hard, and they deserve it. So I congratulate them. I thank them to let me be part of this. I congratulate all my teammates. Everybody pushed for the same objective, and this is great. You know, for me, in the personal, of course, it was a great race. Ma didn't make it really, really difficult, but I bet a setup for the end of the race, and I think it paid off. It was a bit difficult in the beginning, but I'm very happy. This is a result very important also for me, because it's a step forward for the championship. So we'll see if I can do a good race tomorrow in a few hours. Will be great, but to win here in this fantastic circuit, first time in China, so great. Thank you very much to everybody.
Chito, we're delighted for you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, leading the first 1, 2, 3, 4 in World Touring Car Championship history since Seat did it back in 2008, and Ivan Muller was one of the 5 factory Seat drivers then. At third place here, James Nash. Ivan hasn't forgotten how to drive. He hasn't suddenly become old and slow overnight. And that, I think, shows just what a great job Lopez and Ma are doing, that both of them, in equal machinery, that he and Sebastian Loeb tested extensively and developed together, that the two new boys, if you like, are doing as good a job as, I mean, the World Touring Car benchmark.
Yeah, well, we know Lopez is very good.
Lopez is very good indeed, and Qinghua Ma producing a very spectacular result as well. So round 19 of the championship is done and dusted. Quick turnaround for the teams. No podium time. They'll have to get ready for race 2, round 20 of the series. When we're finished here in Shanghai, we head then to the Grand Prix circuit at Suzuka. And then the final race weekend on the streets of Macau. It's a race that Citroen always should have dominated and did. Very little in terms of actual damage. One race incident for the stewards to consider between Huff and Borkovic, both of whom ended up with a puncture. I'd call that a no-score draw, I think, probably. William Locke took the wheel off his car on a tyre stack. Tom Chilton's wheel decided it wasn't going to play and departed the scene. James Thompson never started. Mikhail Kozlowski had a couple of race pit stops.
And an absolutely stellar year for Franz Engstler. It means that he is the winner of the Yokohama Championship overall. Franz, you must be absolutely delighted. Well done.
Of course, of course. Yeah! No, I'm so happy for the whole team. BMW and my team did the whole year a really great job. No accident, no damage or technical problems. It runs really, really well. And yeah, I'm happy, and we do a big party, believe me.
Well done, you. You've been endlessly consistent. Congratulations, Franz.
Thank you.
53 years old, a world champion again, and still a boundless enthusiast. One of the most keen racers you'll find anywhere, Franz Engstler. And when he says it's his team, it's not called Team Engstler for no good reason. Very successful touring car operation he's run for many years, especially out here in the Far East. Run a lot of Asian Touring Car Championship races, won several titles, and you will still see an awful lot of Asian drivers in Engstler BMWs. So GTs, touring cars, he's done them all, he's won them all. Congratulations to our Yokohama Trophy champion, Franz Engstler, and congratulations too to our World Manufacturers champions, Citroën Racing. Third in race one, Ivan Muller. Second, Qinghua Ma. And our race winner, again, for the 8th time this season, the rookie, Pechito, Jose Maria Lopez. And again, he pulls out a further 10 points on Ivan Muller. And finally, Yves Maton takes to the podium with Franz Engstler, the Yokohama race winner as well. So for our winning driver, we will hear the national anthem of Argentina. And for our winning manufacturer, the champions, Citroën Racing, La Marseillaise. So Jose Maria Lopez, our race winner, now extends his advantage over Ivan Muller as of now to 78 points. We still have race 2 to go here, and then 2 more race weekends. 55 points, the maximum score per race weekend, so that's 110 plus 25 for race 2. 135 points on offer, i.e. almost twice the gap between the top 2. However, that does, as I said yesterday, really require Ivan Muller to lock Jose Lopez in a toilet for quite a lot of the remainder of the season, so he can't score any points. It's going to be very, very difficult to see any outcome other than Lopez winning the championship now. However, with such a massive points haul still possible, it's really not good to go counting your chickens.
No, but we haven't seen Ivan fight back like we would have done in the past either, so...
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's still there battling, and his podium consistency is still remarkable. Yves Maton takes the manufacturer's trophy. And that will be a very important one back at base at Citroën Sport. They knew rallying inside out. All right, once they were the new boys, but they were very successful in French rallying. So they had that, you know, they've got a long history of rallying, from Peugeot Sport into Citroën Racing, or Citroën Sport in rallying, in Dakar Racing, and then right up into World Rally Championship. But to come here into a completely different ball game, you know, that's like Chris Hoy leaving the velodrome and going to the Tour de France. That's the kind of parallel we're looking at here. It's a bicycle, but it's a very different way of going racing. You know, they've got engines, they've got gearboxes, they've got human beings inside. This is a very different world from the one that they occupied and ruled for many years. So to come here with the head start that they had perhaps in terms of development, oh yes, well and good, blah, 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 but that was the target. That was what Yves Maton said they wanted to do. By gum, they have done it.
They've got the people, they've carried them across, they had a plan, and they've achieved it.
Yep, they certainly have. They gave themselves every opportunity to do well, but that's what good teams do. You don't go in half-cocked. They came, as we said before, loaded for bear, and they have got what they wanted. And that allows the team now to give the drivers total free rein, with the main game still to play for them, the driver's crown.